So E-clutch better than up and down quick shifter?
Say hello to the Honda CB650R and CBR650R. These are the company's newest bikes to launch in Malaysia, and I say that with air quotes because, broadly speaking, they've been making these bikes for over 10 years now. And the recipe has stayed pretty much the same with a couple of tweaks along the way. This generation's tweak is a pretty big one though. It's called the E-clutch, and in essence, it's a new way of making riding more accessible through a series of motors and sensors that will operate the clutch for you. Now, I won't bore you with the technical aspects, but the gist of it is pretty much everything you'd need a clutch to do on a motorcycle. This system can take care of it for you. And it's weird.
Oh, macam skuter.
At least in the beginning.
This is so weird.
As someone who has primarily ridden clutch motorcycles, that initial engagement into first gear without the clutch was almost like overcoming a mental block.
I'll just go for gear. Oh!
No clutch required, just step down into first gear and you're good to go. After that though, the system works pretty much like a regular up and down quick shifter until you get to a stop, where the uneasiness of not needing to pull the clutch comes back again.
So lampu hijau ni E-clutch ke?
E-clutch, betul.
Oh, okay. So if this is on, E-clutch is on.
Betul.
I should also warn you to be careful with that first throttle application because getting off the line is much jerkier than I was used to when feathering a clutch.
Oh! 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 It's so weird.
Now, going into this test, I was almost certain that I wouldn't like it more than a good up and down quick shifter because I thought that it would behave more like someone manually operating the clutch for you. But I was wrong because once I was over the initial shock, the E-clutch just works.
If I let go of the brake, right? Just stop.
It's surprisingly smooth and snappy on downshifts and even better on upshifts. Because the system is actually working the clutch, you can also do slow speed maneuvers in high gears and even start from a standstill in like 4th. The bike will discourage you from doing these things by flashing orange on the gear indicator, but it will still try to do its job. It's just letting you know that you're being a little bit of an idiot. I think the biggest praise I can give it is that I never had to think about it when I was riding. But at the same time, it didn't sacrifice that sense of engagement the way riding something like a scooter would. You still have to pull that gear lever when the screaming inline 4 reaches its zenith, and you'll still have the same joy rowing through the gears like you would any other performance bike.
So, E-clutch better than up and down quick shifter?
Yep, any RPM boleh guna, tak ada masalah. Kalau tak nak guna E-clutch, just tarik je clutch punya mesin.
And I kinda agree with that because for street riding, I think that it's functionally superior. I was shifting as aggressively as I normally would to see if the system would choke up, but it just did its job, and that's pretty awesome for tech this new. Of course, I can't really speak for how well it would work on a track or twisty road, but I don't think that these bikes were made for the former, and I'm willing to bet that it'll be more than good enough for the latter. Sure, some purists will disagree, but the solution for them is simple. Just turn it off.
Dia punya point of up and down, soft, medium, hard. Most people go for medium lah.
So medium meaning?
Dia punya feedback of the up down or clutch.
Oh, you don't have to pull so hard.
You can either permanently disable the feature in the bike's settings or simply pull the clutch when you're riding and the E-clutch will temporarily
disengage. So kalau dalam setting turn off means completely off.
Ni off lah.
Dia takkan activate balik lah.
Now, would I have liked to opt out of having an E-clutch to maybe knock a few thousand ringgit off the price tag? Yes, but I also understand that Honda probably doesn't move enough of these bikes in Malaysia to justify bringing in more SKUs. If I had to complain about specs though, it would be that they still come with old-fashioned cable throttles instead of throttle-by-wire. Yeah, at least you get traction control and ABS, but come on! Even the CBR650R has throttle-by-wire.
I feel like I like the bronze more. You know what I mean? A little bronze there. Compared to this one.
Then the wheels also, it's all black. It's like bronze.
But the focus is on the fairing. Rugi lah letak colour bronze.
Oh, then it pulls away from
Rugi lah.
the racing nature.
Betul.
No, I think it looks much better in person, like the CBR. I just can't really capture the red, you know.
Dia tak banyak beza dengan 250R. Sebab just sekali tengok
This one
je. Kena tengok dekat-dekat.
Sana. Which I think it's more like a good thing for the CBR 250. Like it looks like a big bike.
Nampak premium, yeah.
Oh.
But for this one, nampak murah.
That aside, I think the e-clutch is absolutely a value add, and it's not even one that has driven up the price of these CB650 bikes way over their competition. In fact, I think that they're pretty great value for the kind of performance that you get, and that's before I get all sentimental. The distinctive howl that you get from an inline 4 engine that's revving over 10,000 RPM is something many consider to be the holy grail of motorcycle noises. But it's a dying breed, especially at the mid and low end of the market. Whether this is because of emissions, or cost, or weight, we may be fast approaching a world where we won't have accessible inline 4s anymore. That's why bikes like the Honda CB650 Twins are so special. They're not all bark and no bite either. I was expecting the bikes to feel a little dated in the way that they handle, but even in my amateur hands, they feel great to ride. They even have distinctive riding characteristics between the CB and CBR, where the naked is agile and nimble, but maybe a little twitchy on the brakes, while the CBR smooths out all your actions for a controlled carve through the bends. They also come with a lot of the creature comforts you'd expect from a modern middleweight, including LED lighting all around, nice premium feeling switches, and even good passenger accommodation.
The best macam sama.
That's right. Good, nice. Plenty of space for your chobus. I sound so Singaporean. Then there's that gem of an engine. This inline 4 feels almost like the antithesis of the popular middleweight twins you see flooding the market now. While those tend to buck and kick from down low, which is very exciting, they also lose steam as soon as you approach the red line. The excitement from Honda's inline 4s, on the other hand, just builds and builds and builds as the revs climb and the engine starts screaming once you pass 8,000 RPM. It's so linear and predictable, which also makes it a great first big bike for a lot of people. Yes, I think the Suzuki GSX 8 Twins handle better. And yes, I think that the Triumph 660 triples look better. But if you're after something that feels different, maybe even a little special, it's definitely hard to make a case against the Honda CB650R and CBR650R, because there's quite literally nothing like it in its class. So, which one would you get?
Between that and this kan, I think this one e-clutch pula
CB650R. But I have to say, so coming into this, I like the look of the CB a lot more, especially in this gorgeous green. But riding it, this one feels different. This one rides better. It's just a little bit lower. It's a little bit more engaging. If they make this in green, oh habis. That's my money. That's where my money is going already. Alright, see you guys.